Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale, Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine, Namaste Saraswati Deve, Gayavani Pracharine, Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshatarine. Hare Krishna, good morning, everybody. Am I co-hosting or are you doing it today, Prabhu?
I can do it today,
Okay.
but I didn't make you co-host, but I can share today.
Okay, thank you very much. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate
Om
Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, The Status Quo, Chapter 18, The Battle Between Lord Bor and the Demon Hiranyaksha. Dadarshatacha bijitam daradaram praniyamanaavanim agradam straya mushnantamakshna swaruchoruna shriya jahasachaho vanagocharo mriga Dadarshatacha bijitam daradaram praniyamanaavanim agradam straya mushnantamakshna swaruchoruna shriya jahasachaho vanagocharo mriga Dadarshatacha bijitam daradaram praniyamanaavanim agradam straya mushnantamakshna swaruchoruna shriya jahasachaho vanagocharo mriga. Everyone chant, please.
Hare Krishna. Tadarša tatra abhijatam dharadharam proniyamam abhanim agradam shtaya mushnantam akshana saruchoruna sriya jahasha chaho banagochara mrigaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Tadarsh tatra bijitam dharadhara praniyamanaavanim agradam straya mushinantam achina swarucho arunasriya jahasachaho vanagocharo mrigaha. Hare Krishna.
ददर्श तत्र विजितं धारधरं पृण्यमानावनिम् अग्रदंष्ट्रया मुष्णन्तमक्ष्णा स्वरुचोरुणश्रिया जहास चाहो वनगोचरं मृगा.
Anyone else? Okay, word for word translation. Dadarsha, he saw. Tatra, there. Abhijitam, the victorious. Dara, the earth. Dharam, bearing. Praniyamana, being raised upward. Avanim, the earth. Agradamstraya, by the tip of his tusk. Mushnantam, who was diminishing. Akshna, with his eyes. Swarucha, Hiranyaksha's own splendor. Aruna, reddish. Shriya, radiant. Jahasa, he laughed. Cha, and Aho, oh. Vanagochara, amphibious, mriga, beast. Translation. He saw there the all-powerful personality of Godhead in his boar incarnation, bearing the earth upward on the ends of his tusks and robbing him of his splendor with his reddish eyes. The demon laughed. Oh, an amphibious beast. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. In a previous chapter, we have discussed the incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Varaha, the boar. While Varaha, with his tusks, engaged in uplifting the submerged earth from the depths of the waters, this great demon Hiranyaksha met him and challenged him, calling him a beast. Demons cannot understand the incarnation of the Lord. They think that his incarnations as a fish or boar or tortoise are big beasts only. They misunderstand the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, even in his human form, and they deride his descent. In the Chaitanya Sampradaya, there is sometimes a demoniac misconception about the descent of Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu's body is spiritual, but demoniac persons consider the body of the Supreme Personality to be material, just like ours. Avajananti Mammudha. Persons who have no intelligence deride the transcendental form of the Lord as material. Dadarshatachi tacha bijitam daradaram praniyamanavanim agradamstraya mushnantamakshna swaruchorunashriya jahasa chahovana gocharo mrigha. He saw there the all-powerful personality of Godhead in his boar incarnation, bearing the earth upward on the ends of his tusks and robbing him of his splendor with his reddish eyes. The demon laughed, "Oh, an amphibious beast." Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. Just a short note before I start. My tendency, especially when I'm studying for class, is to sort of take the verse and, look at each individual word or each individual syllable and, look for the details and try to unpack it. But I was also remembering as I was doing that, as I was preparing for this class, that there's also, another kind of reading where you just reading, just going through it. And I was thinking how both of those are actually important, that there are times when we want to really dive into a verse and, analyze deeply, every word and every syllable. And we know that in the Bhagavatam, every letter contains so much depth of meaning, but we also want to, just absorb ourselves in the past times and the story going on so that we understand not just the individual syllables, but the context of the whole story. So I just wanted to remind myself actually that, both of these types of reading and studying are valuable, as well as things like, other types of reading, like reading individually and reading in a group with devotees. They're two different types, and each of them has their benefits and their attractions. So all types of reading. Prabhupada said, whenever you get time, read my books. So all these different types of reading, or even nowadays, listening, audio book form or listening to Prabhupada's lectures, all these things are there. And they all shed different kinds of lights and enter our intelligence and enter our heart in different ways. But today we're going to do a little of that, picking apart. And for another thing is Prabhupada mentions, of course, in the purport, Avijananti Mammudha, that foolish people don't understand the appearance of the Lord. And actually, he's being generous. He says in the purport, "Oh, foolish people, they think oh, Lord Vishnu, he's just some giant boar or some giant tortoise or some giant fish. And actually, he's being overly generous because most people don't even accept that. Uh, they consider it all myth or fantasy or whatever. So how much an illusion, avijananti, how ignorant are such persons? And he gives an example about some demoniac class of men in the he used the word in the Chaitanya Sampradaya who apply this bad understanding to Lord Nityananda. I don't know anything in particular about what that class of people are. Maybe he's referring to the uh, Nityananda Vamsha uh, Sampradaya or Apasampradaya who think, because we come in the family line of Lord Nityananda, that we're something special, but I'm not exactly sure what he's talking about. So I'll just leave it at that general sense that Lord Nityananda is as spiritual, as pure, as much the Supreme Personality of Godhead as Mahaprabhu, as Varaha, as Krishna himself, and that minimizing that is Avijananti Mamuta Manusin Tanumashita, that it's ignorant, just ignorant to deride the Lord when he comes Manusim, when he comes in human-like forms or even in these animal-like forms, they're all there. So this is the general rule. Don't deride the Lord, disbelieve the Lord, or criticize the Lord when he assumes these different forms, amazing forms, all of them. None of them more amazing than his original form as Krishna himself, but all of them are amazing. And Hiranyaksha, as the demon, playing the part of the demon, is himself showing this ignorance, saying, Aho Vanagotra. It's actually funny. Oh, look, an amphibious beast. So Vana Gocharo Mriga. Vana means forest, and Vana means water. So therefore, Prabhupada translates, oh, an amphibious beast. Maybe he's running in the forest or running in the water, and hogs are like that. They're land animals, but they're also very happy submerging themselves in the in water. So this demon so foolishly misapprehending the position of the Lord, oh, an amphibious beast. Uh, like I said, Vana means an inhabitant of the forest. We know Vana, like Vrindavan. Uh, and Vana also means residing in the water. Gocharo means takes residence in, and Mriga means an animal, like a beast. And that's also an interesting word, Mriga. Mri or Mrit, or in Hindi, Mit, like Miti, right? Miti ka baitan means like earthenware, like clay pots and clay utensils, right? So in Sanskrit, that's Mrit or Mrid, earth. Just like in very first verse of the Bhagavatam, right? Tejo vari mridam yata vinimayo. That uh, Krishna bewilders all the living entities, even the demigods. He bewilders them. Uh, Tejo vari mridam yata. Just like the illusion of Tejo, fire, vari, water, and mrid, the same word, mrid, earth or clay or dirt. And the idea is that this illusion, just like the mirage, right? The mirage, and we've all seen this, like driving down the road, that the road is earth. It's clay or asphalt or earth, but when the heat and the weather conditions and the layers of air of different temperatures are right, oh, it looks like there's water in the distance on the road. And there's the old trope that the person's wandering in the desert dying of thirst, and he looks either not just, and that's the interesting one, not just because of some a mixture of different layers of air reflecting the light, but because of a disorder of the brain, of the mind. He's in the desert and there's no water, but he says, "Oh, there's an oasis," and he goes running after the oasis, and there's nothing there. So this is even more an illusion. So this is Tejo Vari Mridam. So Mrit means earth, and Ga means to go. Maybe that's even where we get the English word go from Ga, the Sanskrit Ga, Mriga. So that which moves upon the earth, which means beasts and animals. Just like a snake. Snake is called Jimaga. Uh, Jima means crooked. So the animal that moves, that goes, that travels in a crooked way, like is a snake. Or the bird is called Kaga. Ka means like Akash in the sky. So the animal that moves in the sky, Kaga is the bird. So Mriga are animals that move upon the earth. So in his ignorance, Hiranyaksha is criticizing, oh, an amphibious beast. Uh, and of course, the Acharyas explain very nicely that these words of criticism are unknowingly. Uh, Goddess Saraswati has put these words in his mouth as hidden praise of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Like I said, Vana means water. So Hiranyaksha is saying, oh, Vana Gochara, he's an amphibious animal. But Vana Gochara also means Lord Narayan, who resides upon the ocean. Like Karanadak, that's the feature of the three Vishnus, right? Karana, Garba, and Kirodakashai, that they're all residing in the ocean, laying down upon the water. So by saying Vanagochara, he's actually offering praise to Lord Narayan, who lies down upon the waters of creation, the Garba waters or the Kira waters or the Karana waters. And in Vishnu Sahasranam, one of the names of Lord Vishnu is Jalasayana, which is that same meaning. Jala also means water. So Jalasayana is Lord Vishnu. He's laying back on the bed of Anantashesh upon the waters. So this is hidden praise that Hiranyaksha is offering. Another hidden praise is in this word mriga. I explained how mriga means the beast who moves upon the surface of the earth. But mriga also comes from the verb in Sanskrit mrigayati, which means to seek out. So Vana Gochara Mriga, Mrigayati, means Lord Vishnu, who great sages and saintly persons, they leave the cities and they leave the towns and the villages, and Vana, they go to the forest to meditate, to seek out, to reach the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is the other meaning of Vana Gochara Mriga, that Lord Vishnu, who is celebrated. He's Narayan laying upon the waters, and laying upon the waters is also implying his existence as the source of all creation. As Karanodakashai lying upon the Karana waters, all the universes are coming out of his body. And as Garbhodakashai, all the elements of the universe and the creation of the universe is coming from him. And as Kirodakashai, he's the super soul within the heart of all living entities. And so where was I? Yeah, so all of the sages, they're leaving everything behind to go and search him out in the forest. And this is the sort of prototypical image that you leave the city, you go to the forest and you meditate to find Lord Vishnu. So in this way, inadvertently or unknowingly, or in a hidden way, Hiranyaksha is actually praising the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who has appeared before him in this incredible form. So Hiranyaksha is doing it in a hidden way, in an unknowing way. And Maitreya in the verse is also praising the Lord in a explicit way by calling the Lord Abhijit. Abhijit means who is always victorious, always victorious. Jita, we know Jita means to conquer, to be victorious. And Abhi, this prefix Abhi means to move. It has different meanings, to move towards something or to be against something or to be very powerful or to overpower something. So Abhijita means Lord Vishnu, who's always moving towards victory. He's always attaining victory. In everything he does, he will always be victorious. And it also means in opposition or against. So whoever he battles, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Kamsa, uh, the Kali a serpent, so many demons, Madhu and Kaitava and hundreds and thousands, countless demons, always he's victorious over every single one of them. So this is Abhijita. The Lord is always victorious. Without exception, he's always victorious. That and how is this? Of course, he's, as we heard, as Narayan, he's creating everything. So if everything is his energy, his expansion, there's no way that it can surpass him. Natasya karyam karanam cha vidyate, natat samas cha vyadikasya jishyate. That he has no work to perform, and yet he is enabling everything to happen. Natat samas, sama, again, another Sanskrit word that we have in English, sama, and the English word same. So same means being same or similar or equal to something. So na tatsamas, no one is equal to him. No one is like him. Na tatsamas cha abhyadi kasya jishyate. And we will also find no one who is superior to him. This is, Prabhupada would use the word asamordva, which means the same thing. Asama, ordva. There's no one equal to him. There's no one greater than him. And that's simply another way of saying that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is Abhijita. He is always victorious in every situation. Natatsamas chabhyadikashyatishite parasya shaktir vividaiva shuyate swabhaviki jnana bala kriyacha. And everything is happening. He is fulfilling the desires of all the different living entities. Oh, no, that's a different verse. Parasya Shaktir, Vividai Vishuyate. Everything is being done through the expansion of his energies. This is the explanation of Natasya Karyam Karanam Chavidyate. He has no work to do, but he's making everything happen. And this is how. Parasya Shaktir Vividai Vishuyate. Swabhaviki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. Swabhaviki, they're his own personal energies, and they're working under his full strength and knowledge and potency and activity. So in this way, the Supreme Personality is always victorious. And if he's always victorious, and this battle is being set up between Lord Vishnu and Hiranyaksha, spoiler alert, Lord Vishnu is going to win. So because he's Abhijita, he's always victorious. This word Abhijita is also interesting. Abhijita is also a nakshastra, is that the word? It's a particular star or constellation in the sky, which is considered very auspicious and means that under that star you'll always be victorious. In that connection, there's very nice. It's so nice. As I was reading it, it was so wonderful. It's in the description of, was it at Kurukshetra when everyone went to Kurukshetra and all of Krishna's Draupadi met all of Krishna's queens. And it's actually very interesting. And all the queens are telling Draupadi their story of how they obtained Krishna as their husband and how they became the maidservants of Krishna. And it's so interesting, I thought, because all of the queens, who are the principal queens? Bhadra, Jambavati, Kalindi, Rukmini, Satyabhama, Mitravinda. Maybe I'm missing a couple of the principal queens. And Lakshmana. Each of those queens, they tell their story basically in like one shloka, two shlokas. They summarize their story of how they met Krishna and Krishna married them and they became the married servant of Krishna. All of them just one verse, two verse. But then when Lakshmana tells her story, it's a long, long story covering, a large part of the chapter, telling the whole story and all the details. So I thought that was interesting. When we think of Krishna's queens, Lakshmana may not pop up to the very top of the list of principal queens, but at least in this section, she's given prominence and her story is told, and you'll see how it ties to Abhijita. First, this is from Krishna book. First of all, I'm sharing this part just because it was humorous and fun. All the queens are telling their stories, and then when Lakshmana tells her stories, you could see if you listen to it, you could see she's actually exhibiting a little bit of sort of transcendental pride. She says, "My dear queen, Draupadi," she's speaking to Draupadi, "my father was very affectionate toward me. Oh, and by the way, just like other queens, just like Rukmini, uh, she had never seen Krishna, she had never met Krishna, but just from hearing about Krishna, she became attracted. So Lakshmana also, Narada Muni had visited her father's palace. Her father, Brihatsena, is that the name? If I'm remembering correctly, visited the palace and she heard about Krishna from Narada Muni and immediately fell in love with him and wanted him to be her husband. So she's telling this story to Draupadi. My dear queen, my father was very affectionate toward me. When he understood that I was attracted to Krishna, he devised a plan. This is also contrasting with Rukmini. She wanted to marry Krishna, but rather her brother devised a plan by which she would not be given to Krishna. But Lakshmana's father was so nice that she devised a plan by which Krishna would be his daughter's husband. So he devised a plan. His plan was like that devised by your father during the Swayamvara. Now we remember Draupadi's Swayamvara, that all the princes came and they had to shoot the arrow through the fish target, right? And only Arjuna could do it. Uh, his plan was like that devised by your father. So she's telling Draupadi, oh, I also had, similar to you, a competition like that. Uh, his plan was like that devised by your father during the Swayamvara. The prospective bridegrooms had to pierce the eyes of a fish with their arrows. The difference between the competition in your Swayamvara and mine was that in your case, the fish was hanging openly on the ceiling in clear view. But in my case, the fish was covered with a cloth and could only be seen by the reflection of the cloth in a pot of water. That was the special feature of my Swayamvara. So maybe I'm reading too much into it, but it almost seems like a bit of transcendental pride speaking to Draupadi. Oh, my Swayamvar was even more painstaking and more difficult than yours. And of course, Draupadi was so fortunate that she got Arjuna, ultimately all of the Pandavas, uh, as her husband. But Lakshmana's even more painstaking Swayamvara, she got Krishna. So difficult that not only you had to shoot through the fish, but you couldn't look directly at the fish. You had to look in the reflection in the pot of water. And that fish was actually covered somehow with a cloth so that you couldn't even see it directly. So that was the special feature of my Swayamvara. And Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur comments that because the fish was covered and because you couldn't look at it directly, that means you had to be able to look in two directions at once. You had to look down at the reflection and up at the fish at the same time. And of course, no mortal person can look in two directions at once. And at the Swayamvara, most of the kings present couldn't even string the bow. Because you have to bend the bow and then take the string and fit it over the other end of the bow just to string the bow, and most of them couldn't even do that. And in fact, many of them were injured or knocked to the ground when they tried to bend the bow, and then the bow would spring back and knock them on the ground. And it was very humorous and also insulting to those. And a very few of them were actually able to string the bow, but couldn't hit the fish. Only Arjuna was able to string the bow, shoot the arrow, and he hit the fish not in the proper place, but a glancing blow to the side of the fish. So that was Arjuna. So even Arjuna was unable. But Lord Krishna strung it, stretched the bow, looked at the reflection, and let it go, and he was able to pierce the target. And the acharyas have commented about this that to do it, it means you had to look in two directions at once. And that's because Krishna is, his eyes are everywhere. He's all seeing. That's also in the very first verse of the Bhagavatam. Janmadhyasya Janmadhyasya Arteshwa Bigya Swarat, that he's directly and indirectly sees and knows everything. So only therefore, because you had to look in two directions at once, which no mortal person can do, Lord Krishna was able to do because he sees everything. And it's described later on in Lakshmana's description of that pastime. When at last Lord Krishna took up the bow, he was able to tie the bowstring very easily, just as a child plays with a toy. He placed the arrow, and looking only once at the reflection of the fish in the water, he shot the arrow, and the pierced fish immediately fell down. This victory of Lord Krishna was accomplished at noon, during the moment called Abhijit, which is astronomically calculated as auspicious. At that time, the vibration of Jai, Jai was heard all over the world, and from the sky came sound of drums beat by the denizens of heaven. So this is also significant that Lord Krishna accomplished this at noon and at the moment of Abhijit. And the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti has also commented that that means, like I said, this Abhijit Nakshastra is a star in the sky. And of course, we don't see stars during the day because the sun's out, but the stars are still there in the sky. We just can't see them. And the sun, as it passes in its course across the sky, will be in the place of those different stars, which we can't see, but which can be astronomically calculated. And at that moment, at noon, noon means the sun is directly overhead. That was also the spot where the Abhijit star was. So that's a very auspicious time. But it also means that as Lord Krishna looked up at the target, that means the sun was also directly overhead, which means the sun was in his eyes, which for an ordinary mortal person would make hitting the target even more difficult. With the sun in your eyes, wouldn't even be able to see the target. But it was no impediment for Lord Krishna because he's Abhijit, he's always victorious. So this is the Supreme Personality of God. He's always victorious. And another way of saying that he's always victorious is that he's unconquerable. No one can conquer the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Just like Shukadev Goswami also prays. It's very nice, actually. He says, aren't there, he's giving, it's very interesting because he's giving a sadhana, or he's giving a principle or a practice, and then he's also giving a result of that practice. So he says, aren't there torn clothes lying in the street? Aren't the trees there to give shelter and to give food? Aren't there rivers? Have the rivers all dried up that you can't get water from the rivers anymore? Has someone locked up all the caves in the mountains, so there's no place to live? So he's saying like that there's, clothes, residence, food, water, none of these things need to be concerned about because nature is providing them, at least for a avaduta, for a yogi, a mystic like Shukadev. But then the second half, he says, isn't the Lord unconquerable? And doesn't he give shelter to his devotees? Kim ajito vati no pasanan. So Krishna is Abhijit, that he's always victorious. And like I said, the other way of saying that is that he's Ajita. Ajita means no one can conquer him. Jita means conquer. So Kim Ajito Vati no Pasanan. Kim, and we also, I think last time I gave class, we also discussed this word Kim, that these words that begin with K are the question words in Sanskrit. Kim, Ka, Kwaham, all these different words. So Kim, it's a question. Doesn't the Supreme Lord, who is Ajita, Avati, doesn't he protect those who are upasana? Prabhupada translates it as those who are surrendered souls. And upasana literally means to draw near. So those who draw near to the Lord, those who come close to the Lord, those who approach the Lord, just like just like when I was explaining about uh, Vana, Vana Gochara Mriga, that it means those who are searching out the Lord in the forest. So searching out the Lord means you're trying to draw close to the Lord. So this is upasana. Just like also the word Upanishad, we know the Upanishads are the philosophical portions of the Vedas, but the etymology of Upanishad is Upa Nishad, means uh, Nishad means to sit near. Upa means near. So to sit near means you sit at the lotus feet of the guru. This is the meaning of Upanishad. You sit near to the guru and he instructs you. And then Upasana, you become a surrendered soul by drawing near to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Shukadev Goswami is praying like that. He's giving a practice that you become renounced. You don't worry overly about your maintenance, your clothing, your residence, your food, your water. These will come. You don't worry too much about that. And what's the result? Kim ajito vati nopasanam. The Lord will protect you. The Lord is unconquerable. So if you approach that unconquerable person, you are safe. If you approach someone who can be conquered, who will be conquered, that's not a very safe position. That's why Prabhupada calls them fallible soldiers. If you approach the fallible soldiers of material life, you're not safe. But if you approach Ajita, who is unconquerable, then you are safe. And therefore the devotees are fearless because they have that shelter. Upasana, because they've drawn so close to the unconquerable Lord, they're safe in that shelter. Another example of this is the famous verse that when, let me see what time it is. The famous verse in the teachings of Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Roy, that he was asking about the goal of life, and Ramananda started karma, jnana, this, that, varnashram, and Mahaprabhu kept on saying, Ehobaya, Ehobaya. This is external. Tell me something more. What you've given so far is external. So after Ehobaya, 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 this is external, this is external, this is external. Finally, Ramananda Roy presented a shloka and a situation that Mahaprabhu said, Ehohaya, this is the thing. This is not external, this is good. And that verse is the famous verse, Gyane prayasam udapasyanamantya eva, jivanti sanmukaritam bhavati avartam. Stanestita Shuddhikatam Tanuvan Manobir Yaprayaso Jita Jito Pyasitais Trilokyam. You'll hear again this word Jita, Ajita. So Jnane Prayasam Udapasyanamante. If you give up the process of mental speculation, because that mental speculation, which culminates in impersonal understanding, this is a fallible soldier. Don't take shelter of that. Jivanti sanmukaritam bhavadiyavartam. Make your life, Jivanti, your life should be hearing and chanting this, about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, or upasana, drawing near to the Supreme Personality of Godhead by hearing about him, by hearing talks about him, by hearing the katha from him. Prabhupada said there's two kinds of Krishna katha, right? The Krishna katha that Krishna himself is speaking, like Bhagavad Gita. And then there's the Krishna Katha about Krishna, like in Srimad Bhagavatam. So you do that, you devote your life to that. And stanestita, and you don't need to change anything else about your life. Just add that one thing, that devote yourself to hearing and chanting, and not hearing and chanting casually or once a week at the Sunday feast, or once a week you go to, like people, once a week you go to church, and then the rest of the week, whatever. No, ye Stanistira Shruti Gatam Tanu Van Manobir. You go on and you offer obeisances and you serve this Krishna Kata constantly with Tanu, with your body, Van, with your words, and Manobi, with your mind. That means you have to be absorbed in it all the time, hearing and chanting about Krishna. And what's the result? Ye prayaso ajita, jito pyasi tais trilokyam. Krishna, who is ajita, tais trilokyam, who is unconquerable within all the three worlds. Within all the three worlds means upper, middle, and lower planetary system. All the three worlds can also mean Devi Mahesha Haridam, that the abode of Vaikuntha and the abode of Lord Shiva and the abode of Goddess Durga, this material world. In all of them, he is Ajita, he's unconquerable. But he becomes conquered by the devotees who surrender to this process of giving up mental speculation and absorbing themselves in hearing and chanting about Krishna. That Krishna, who is unconquerable, becomes conquered. Now, what does that mean? He becomes conquered. The devotee doesn't necessarily feel, oh, I've conquered Krishna, I'm so great. No, that means that they now are assured that they've conquered Krishna, that I am sure, I know Krishna will protect me. And this is one of the items of surrender, that Gop Tritve Varanantata, or just like Mahaprabhu, when Mahaprabhu took sannyas and he was wandering all over India, and what was he chanting? Krishna, 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 hey. Krishna, 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 Rakshamam. Rakshamam means protect me. Krishna, 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 Pahimam. Krishna, maintain me. This was his prayer. This was his understanding, because this is the these are the items of Sharanagati, that Krishna will maintain me. Krishna will protect me. So again, just like the verse of Shukadev Goswami, first he's giving a sadhana, a practice. And what's that practice? The negative practice is that you give up mental speculation. And the positive practice is you take up hearing and chanting about Krishna. Or in a broader sense, we can say, take up devotional service to Krishna. And if you do that, the result is the same thing. Krishna is unconquerable. And if you take shelter of him, if you conquer him with your love, then you are also unconquerable. You are also safe. You are also fearless. So Krishna is Abhijit. He's unconquerable. And by any situation, what to speak of by a big, big demon? Like Hiranyaksha was so powerful, so big. But no matter how powerful he is, what's the other word? The other word later in it, Mushnantam. In today's verse, Mushnantam means to rob or to plunder. So if you try to compare yourself to Krishna, who is Asamordva, you think, oh, I have some strength. Hiranyaksha was thinking, I'm strong, I'm big, I'm powerful, I'm rich, all these things. I can fight the Lord, I can conquer the Lord, I can compare myself to the Lord. As soon as you do that, Mushnantam, all of your opulence is plundered. This is very nice. This word Mushnantam means to steal or to plunder. So it's all stolen away by trying to compare yourself to the Lord, no matter how powerful you may be. Another interesting word, beautiful word in today's verse is this dara daram, or daram daram dara. Now, this is also very interesting. Dara means the Earth planet is called Dara. And Dara also means to bear or to carry or to hold something. Just like Lord Balaram is Haladhar, because he's holding the plow, Haladhar. Or Lord Vishnu is Gadadhar, because he's holding the club. So Varaha here is described as Dara Dara, that he's holding the earth. He's bearing the earth upon his tusk. Now, this is very interesting, or beautiful, actually, poetically beautiful. First of all, because you have that nice repetition, dara. Dara has a very pleasing poetic sound to it, nice alliteration or repetition of the sounds of it, dara, daram. And it's also beautiful in its meaning that the earth is called dara because the earth is the thing that bears everything. Everything is being born upon the surface of the earth. What was it? Yeah, Bali Maharaj. When Bali Maharaj was arguing with his guru Shukracharya about keeping his word, and he said, I have heard it said uh, that Mother Earth I've heard Mother Earth one time said, I can bear anything except a liar. So the earth is bearing everything. Everything is being born upon the surface of the earth. And therefore, Krishna comes when the burden upon the earth becomes too much, because Mother Earth is also surrendered soul. Upasana, a surrendered soul to the Supreme Lord. So she is also protected by the Supreme Lord when the demons come, when the unnecessary military might is weighing down the earth, when the liars are weighing down the earth. But this is the meaning of earth, that she's called Dara because she is bearing everything. But Lord Vishnu as Varaha is bearing the earth, which bears everything. He's bearing her. So that again means however powerful we may be, the Lord is more powerful. However strong we may be, the Lord is supporting any of that power. Therefore, he is Abhijit, he is Ajita, he is unconquerable by anyone, by any person. So this is very beautiful poetic term, I think, Dara Dharam. Another meaning of Dara Dara is mountain. A mountain is Dara Dara because mountains are supported upon the body of the earth. So Dara Dara also means mountain. And several times, at least 4 or 5 times in the course of this pastime, Lord Varaha, although it's not explicitly said here, but at least I'm reminded by this word Dara Dara, how the Lord Varaha is described like a mountain compared to a mountain. In chapter 13, it said that Lord Varaha, he roared like Aga Indra. He roared like a great mountain. Aga means a mountain, just like we heard Mriga means move upon the earth. So Aga, Ga means move. Aga means that which does not move, which is the mountain. And Indra means the king or the topmost. So the topmost, the king of all things that do not move is the mountain. And Krishna says, of immovable things, I am the Himalayas. Uh, so Lord Varaha is compared roaring like a mountain, or he's described as Vajrakuta Anga, that his body is like impervious and powerful, like a mountain peak made of diamonds or thunderbolts. So this is the poetic description. Dara Dara also means mountain. And just for fun, and also it's related, but for fun, there's a nice story told by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur that one time, uh, Radharani, we may have heard how she's every day invited to Nandagan to come to Mother Yashoda's kitchen and cook for Krishna, because Radharani, it's ultimately because of their loving relationship, but externally, it was heard that she had received a benediction from Durvasa Muni that anything she cooked would be the most delicious and would preserve the health of anyone who ate her cooking. So Mother Yashoda would always invite Radharani to cook. So one time, Radhika was cooking in Mother Yashoda's kitchen. Krishna peeked in through the door of the kitchen, saw Radhika cooking there, and he felt such ecstasy seeing her that he wanted to do the Sankirtan of Radhika's name. He wanted to sing and chant her name because of that. But he knew if he did that in the household, it would appear it would look very improper to Nanda and Yashoda and all the residents there. It would seem very improper for him to be doing that. So he devised a trick. He got his pet parrot, and he took that parrot on his arm, and he said, Parrot, I'm going to teach you a verse. And the verse he wanted to teach him was, let's see if I wrote it down. Yeah. Dara Dara. We heard the word Dara Dara as mountain. Dara Dara Vapu Narayan Osman Pasidatu, which means, may Lord Narayan, whose body resembles a giant mountain, be merciful to us. So he started teaching the parrot this verse, Dara Dara Vapu Narayan Osman Pasidatu, and he was teaching the verse and he was feeding pomegranate seeds to the parrot to encourage it, but he wasn't the parrot wasn't learning it. So Krishna said, "Oh parrot, this verse maybe it's too long. So let's take it one word at a time." So he started teaching the parrot, say this one word, Dara, 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 Dara. And as he was repeating Dara, 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 it became turned around that Da Radha, Radha, Radha. So in a hidden way, uh, he was saying externally he was saying Dara, Dara, mountain. That Dara, Dara, Vapu, Narayana, that Lord Vishnu, his body is like a big, powerful mountain. But by turning the syllables around within his mind, he was in ecstasy chanting Radha, Radha, Radha. And anyway, just a little story on the side there. So this is going on, that Lord Varaha was this powerful, mountain-like, unconquerable being, and this ignorant demon. Of course, he's one of the pair of Jai and Vijay, I'm not sure which. Uh, it's all part of the pastime of glorifying the Lord and pleasing the Lord and his devotees. But as the demon, he's neglecting the Lord because of this form. So we never do that. The Lord, in whatever form he appears, is glorious and perfect and always Abhijit, always victorious. And if we draw near to him, if we take up the process and draw near to him, then we're safe. Then we can be fearless. Even if you're even if you're the biggest weakling and biggest coward, if you have the shelter of the most powerful person, then you're safe. Again, Gyane prayasam mudapasyanamantya eva. When we want to move if you want to move something, you move it by pulling it towards something and also by pushing it away from something. So Gyane Prayasam is the negative process that you're pushing away. What are you pushing away? Speculative knowledge, karma, anyabhilashita shunyam, jnana karma dhyanavritam. You're pushing away all of these other things, all of these other useless processes that won't save you. And Jivanti San Mukaritam. And what are you pulling towards? You're pulling towards this process of devotional service, uh, beginning with the process of hearing and chanting in Parampara the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Stane Sita, whatever your material situation may be, whatever, it doesn't matter. Shrudigatam Tanuvan Manobir, with your body, mind, and words, you wholeheartedly take up this process of Krishna consciousness. Upasana, in that way, drawing near to Krishna, approaching the shelter of Krishna's unconquerable lotus feet. Ye prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokyam. Then you have conquered that person who is Abhijita, who is unconquerable by a big, big demon, by big, powerful persons, by big meditators, by big, rich men, unconquerable. I don't know if anyone has read the F. Scott Fitzgerald short story, The Diamond as Big as the Ritz. Has anyone heard of this story? It used to, in my day, it was required reading back in high school. And in this, there's a rich person, without going into the whole amazing short story. Uh, this where he falls on hard times or he's facing destruction. So he has a diamond like as big as a house. And he takes it out and he's saying, God, here, take this diamond. I can purchase your protection. You can save me. And of course, he wasn't saved because he's not conquered in that way. He can't be purchased in that way by any material process, but only by this process of devotional service. Then ye prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokam. Then the Lord is conquered. And by conquered, for us, it means that now we have conquered him, we have compelled him, in a sense, by our devotional service, or we have inspired him by our love that he says, oh, this devotee is approaching me. I will protect him from all situations. Therefore, the devotee, the jiva, who is not unconquerable, becomes unconquerable by taking shelter of the unconquerable Lord. Thank you very much, everybody, for your very kind attention. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. If there's any questions or comments, we can discuss now. Nothing? Question, comment, discussion?
Just wanted to say thank you for the nice class. I don't really have any questions
Okay,
on it, but I really enjoyed
welcome.
the
You're
way
welcome,
that you
Prabhu.
worked through the word for the kind of the word for word and derived an understanding to explain to us. Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna. Okay, thank you very much, everybody, for your very kind attention. I hope everything's going good in Philly. I hope everyone's staying warm. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyev cha.
एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. Thank you, Prabhu.
You're
Hare
welcome.
Krishna.
So we're set to get a really big snowstorm this weekend. So
Oh,
count
okay.
your blessings down there.
Bundle up, stock up on what you need to. Hare Krishna. Everyone have a wonderful day. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.